Hello and welcome, Reds. Thank you very much for tuning in on today's latest episode. We're going to be discussing the midfield selection for the Crystal Palace game. If you are watching on the repeat, let me know your midfield 3 or midfield 2. Depends if you want to change formation. But we're not going to change formation as of anyway. And let me know. I'm intrigued. Obviously, it was a disappointing performance at the weekend, but the Reds will be back in action a week today. A week yesterday, sorry, a Monday night game under the floodlights at Anfield. And I'm hoping to be joined by Dave LFC Chats as well. I know Dave's very busy, but he said he might possibly pop in, but I was a bit late with doing the show anyway, so apologies, mate. No worries if you can't join me. But I'm joined by my good mate, Jack Scholes. Thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Oh, well done, Harry.
Not too bad, La. Obviously, we've got a little graph anyway, and we'll talk, debate as well. Most importantly, chat. Get your comments in. We will be featuring every single one. Or if you are watching on the repeat, me, Scholes, and chat will be replying to every single one of you anyway. But Scholesy, we're hoping for a much improved midfield display. Obviously, not just the midfield, but the attacking threat for Liverpool, and obviously the defensive threat was absolutely abysmal at Fulham. At times, Fulham were outmuscling us. Technically, they were all over us, really, mate. But just your thoughts on, obviously, the midfield selection against Fulham. Was that the midfield that you would have went with? For me, it was. I would have started Henderson.
100%. Like, let's be honest, if you get the Champions League final, you're picking that midfield. Because 9 times out of 10, them 3 players are the ones that win your games. But against Fulham, we looked awful. Like, what? Time and defend the team at all, we looked awful. And there was no excuse for it, really, because it wasn't like we were making always making the same mistake. Yeah. It was like we weren't asked. We were late to every single 50-50. Every second ball they won all game, and we never really got a foothold in the game. We were always on the back foot. I felt like.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And let's get to everyone's comments as well. And I'll get to everyone's comments, and then I'll say, obviously, there was a big change on the channel, which I should have really introduced the show with as well. But I do, and Gary as well. Nice one, Alan, for tuning in. Everyone if you are watching on the repeat, hope you have a lovely Tuesday day or night anyway. But big up, Jack, mate. Hope you and the family well. Not too bad, John. Thinking of you, mate, as well. Hopefully you're okay. Gary, well, we'll get to our little graph anyway, but Gary's one with Keita, Fabinho, Elliott, Nunez must start as well. We will be doing the attacking line prediction throughout the week, so stay tuned on the channel with that anyway. But midfield tonight, the boys with the retro jerseys. Connor, are you live? I will drop you the link, and you can obviously discuss, debate with Scholesy anyway. Just bear with me one sec, mate. I'll quickly get that up. But Scholes, what was probably one of the most disappointing factors? Obviously, as you mentioned, it's quite rare that Liverpool do perform like that because we're so at ease and we're expecting such a high level of football every single week. And obviously, combined with the injuries going forward and it was announced obviously yesterday that Thiago will be suspected to be missing for in around 5 to 6 weeks at a minimum. But just what was missing the most for you? Was it the attacking flair, or was it just the shared urgency?
I think it was just the urgency and the consistency. Like, we were just making sloppy mistakes that you wouldn't see happen. Like, they weren't big mistakes, but it was a lot of like little straight passes, and it's things that over 90 minutes it all adds up, and that's what decides games. It's them little margins. The biggest thing I was disappointed with, though, from the game, watching it, was the drop off in the performance that we saw against City before.
Yeah,
compared to the Fulham side. I'm not taking not even Fulham. They played unbelievable. They just got at us and they were dogged. They didn't let us settle or get into the game at any point. I remember us having like 5-10 minutes of being on top when Nunez came on, and we looked sharp. We looked like we were going to start doing something, but then the minute Mitrovic turns Van Dijk, which we never see happen.
Yeah.
The minute Van Dijk gets sent to shop, it's like, okay, issues. And I think it was one of them things. It was like, yeah, this is going to be our day. But yeah, my biggest thing was just the drop off in performance compared to City.
100%, mate. And Connor, I have dropped you the link as well, mate. If you want to jump on that, mate, anyway. But we'll get to everyone's comments and then we will go over to obviously the graph, a bit like Sky Sports Studio, and trying to improve obviously the graphics for this season as well going forwards. But I don't winning 3-0 second like Champions League. Yes. Rangers are not too bad. Happy days. Tell you, Ezekiel. We definitely need to improve. Police, especially coming off a loss to the Arsenal. Great content, mate, as well. Thank you very much, mate. Really do appreciate it. Absolute legends. Liking the channel, name change, good work. And well, we'll maneuver. Thank you very much, Eamon, for that little cue there. But as I said, as I was saying to Scholes and chat, apologies I didn't start with this, but I have changed my channel name. Obviously, as you can tell, it's going to be the same content and hopefully a lot more improved. There will be this season, hopefully getting a lot more guests on. I'm trying to get Jack or if you're watching or listening anyway and you'd like to get involved, obviously the more the merrier, really. I do much prefer like me and Scholes when we've gone the game over the last couple of years, even before we started the channel, we just talk like we're just like lads and girls that just like to watch football and just with your mates and just a chilled atmosphere, really. And obviously, Liverpool drop in the odd stinker, but especially over the last couple of years, it's very rare that they do that as well. But so if you'd like to get involved, and obviously nice one, Eamon, and most importantly, everyone for tuning in as well. Connor, the link is in there. Keita's training, but it's too early for him. I think it could be Hendo, Fabinho, Milner to start maybe as from North, mix it up further into the game as well. Interesting there, mate. We definitely need to improve against Palace, especially coming off a 2-0 defeat to Arsenal as well. 100%, mate. And chat, let me know your thoughts on Milner when you come on. I'll ask Scholes in a little second before we dive into obviously the team selection, most importantly. But I think it'll be out till Christmas, mate. Yeah, the worst case scenario, really, mate. But as we spoke about, was it last night or the night before? I brought up that great graph and obviously the great article from The Athletic in terms of Henderson's only featured in 30 league games in one of his last 8 seasons as a professional, which is quite mad. That's goals, isn't it? Like, obviously, Liverpool knew exactly what the player, see, I one of your favourite players before come to Liverpool, one of you, but Liverpool knew exactly what they were getting in terms of his injury history.
Yeah, but it's one of the things, like, I think it's always hard looking at an injury, a player's track record when it comes to injuries, because every club trains different. A lot of our injuries we get, they're not in-game injuries, they're coming off the back of hard training. I don't know whether it's our training methods could cause muscle injuries. I'm not sure whether it's our training methods being not in terms of too intense, but not tailored to the players we've got. I think obviously it works for young players, but I think maybe we've got to look at trying to take care of the players who we know are prone to injuries and maybe adapting their training sessions. So whether they're not getting to a game and then something's getting pulled here, there and everywhere.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And obviously your thoughts on Milner and chat, let us know. He was probably one of Liverpool's brightest sparks in terms of obviously Liverpool's midfield. Do you anticipate him potentially starting at the weekend? What you're going to get with Milner is a professionalism from him. He's going to take on board what Jurgen Klopp has said, and you're looking for senior figures within that changing room. And Henderson and obviously Milner, but most importantly Milner, it'll be one of them that really hopefully will guide Liverpool in the right direction, would you say?
100%. I think after the last performance, it wouldn't surprise if Klopp goes, right, I'll go with I'll stick with some experience and I'll go with James Milner. Not for what, obviously, we know there's brighter sparks there who can create more and have more of a creative player. However, I think he'll go safe for his bets and go, right, I want it for at least the first half, I want it to be professional and safe and keep everyone happy. And I think he'll play Milner just to play it safe a little bit.
Yeah, 100% there, mate. Me with me butterfingers, chat anyway, especially when it just ended intro, don't I? Now and again. But right, let's move that and then we'll shoot over to team lineup board. I can get that up. Here we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Just much better. Right, do not touch that, McKindle. Let's get to everyone's comments as well. We definitely need to improve. Right, that one. I think we'll be out for Christmas. Jack, you changed your channel. His channel name is quick as Chelsea changed managers. Tell you what, especially under the Abramovich era, mate, as well. Tell you what, would have been sacking managers every single week by the under. How you doing, Brian? Thank you very much for tuning in. The Manchester protest again at our game. Oh, of course, mate. Of course. Yeah, of course. But, gents and ladies as well, we'll get into, obviously, Liverpool's midfield. I'll go with my starting 11 first, and I'll see if Scholes, your chat as well. We'll start with the number 6 for me personally. I know he didn't have the best of games, but it's just one of them games that I think you can't drop Fabinho. He's been so good for Liverpool. And for me, I'll put Elliott there. I think obviously the link-up play when we did see him come into Liverpool in terms of obviously getting the goals and obviously played a little lovely ball in behind the channel. And I'm going to go, as we were saying there, miss. I'm going to go with that. Scholes, would you agree to disagree or chat?
I don't know.
Would you go with that?
That's one of my midfields. And I think Fabinho will start because we know the player he is. We know that usually at least 40 games a season, he's unbelievable. We know that the player's there. He'll definitely start. Milner, I think he's got to start just with experience. I think Klopp will want to keep it nice and safe. It then comes down for me of Henderson or Harvey. Henderson, I think, may start just because he's captain. I don't think Klopp will want to disturb too much. And he might.
I can tell you're not on social media, Scholes. You've been busy working this week. You tend to just log off Twitter, mate. I know you don't spend too much time. You're more of a TikTok fan, aren't you? Yeah. But he's been getting absolutely pelters. And I give him pelters on my show as well. It wasn't just Henderson. I got the whole team constructive criticism anyway. But would you go with Henderson for you then, mate?
I would, because I think, as I said with Fabinho, I know he played awful at the weekend. I'll fully back that and I'll turn around and go, you know what, he played awful. However, I think, it's finding the balance, because with some players, if you play bad and you bring them out, it knocks them down even further. Whereas if you stick with them and you just go, right, you know what, we know you played bad there, go and get yourself back on the horse in a sense, then I reckon it'll be better. I'd go with Henderson. But I think it's one of them decisions where no matter what you go with, there's always going to be pros and cons of it.
So I think, if he does have a bad game, though, again, mate, then
you've got to drop him. Then you've got to drop him.
For me, I would have dropped him after that game. And it wasn't just Henderson, there was a couple of players. And we'll speak about, obviously, the defence in a couple of days when we do our defensive back line. I feel Costas potentially coming into the team, giving Robinson a little... I think I'd even bring Costas into the squad. I think some players have got a bit comfortable, would you say? I know it's one game in, but I feel... but yeah, I understand where you're coming from, especially what Jurgen Klopp will be drilling into this squad as well, mate, as you said. Henderson will provide that leadership, and he can play much better than he did at the weekend. A lot of the players can, 100%. Bobby coming for stick, but he can play better than he did, but it's if Liverpool start off slow, mate, again.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. If we start off slow, then you need to start making decisions. But then we said before with Harvey, where we've seen him starting games and it looks like the game's going past him. Like it looks like he's just stranded there in the middle of the park and I don't know what to do. And I don't know whether Klopp will go with the safe option of Henderson or whether they'll go, do you know what? There's a hungry kid here who's got a point to prove. And stick Harvey out in. Because we all know Harvey.
Yeah, 100%. If it was my way, this is what I want to see, chat, and I think probably agree or disagree. Let me know. That's what I want to see
I'd love to
against
see that.
Crystal Palace. I'd love to see that, like the creativeness from both of them, but it's obviously defensively. And I did say about the team at the weekend anyway. Defensively, Liverpool were at 6s and 7s, and I did speak about obviously Henderson, but whoever does play down that right hand side and those inside channels there, especially obviously with how high up Trent can be, and especially with Wilfried Zaha, when we see him come to Anfield. I know he's not at dare I say, he's not at the best of games in recent seasons. He's always provided Trent with, obviously, difficulties down that right, but he's never pocketed Trent to an extent, Zaha. But I'm hoping we do see that midfield a couple of times this season.
If we play that midfield, I want Konate playing.
Obviously, he's out injured anyway, mate.
If you ever play that, I think you need to, because if you're not playing Henderson there to cover Trent, I think you need Konate more than Matip. If Matip steps up, and then you've got two midfielders naturally going to want to go forward, you're then stuck with potentially two at the back, with Fabinho being one of them.
Yeah.
And I think if I was able to play that, I'd just go, right, you know what? As much as I love Joel Matip, I'd be like, no, Konate's better suited. But yeah. We've just got a massive joke.
Yeah, obviously you've seen the episode of done with the lads as well, and I think, as I said, chat, if anyone knows 100%, as a lot of the lads have said already at the top of the show, potentially Naby might not be 100%, and everyone's going mad at the minute goals. Don't know if you see it on social media and chat. If you're not on Twitter, Liverpool supposedly unpinned their top tweet on their social media account on Twitter. So, and the last time they done that, they announced Salah, and I think there was they announced Nunez as well. So I'm highly undoubting that Liverpool will announce something, but something's giving me the sneaky feeling it could potentially be a Naby Keita, contract anyway. I was going to say, where's my cursor? But to get to one's comments as well. The Anfield Lark, no, it hasn't shut down, mate. Just obviously, this is this. I'm still here anyway. We're back for business anyway. Just being just doing a typical McDonald's or an Apple rebrand or something. But yeah, nothing's changed. But hopefully the content will improve this season. I'm trying to push it as much as possible, in every aspect. Obviously the graphics and me presenting wise as well. Absolute legends. But Gary's give his whole bloody team here. Go ahead, Gary. Jumping the gun there, mate. But we'll go with that. Gary's going with Ali, Becker, Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robinson, Keita, Fabinho, Elliott. So obviously Gary's went with Fabinho, and he's gone with Keita. Obviously Keita does preoccupy that those left hand side pockets of space as well. And who else did he go with? Yeah, Elliott. So that's Gary's midfield there in terms of his starting 11. But we'll see how Gary's gone strong there as well. Bobby should never start again. He played well against City, though, mate. For me, it wasn't just Bobby had a bad day at the cleaners, really, did he? It was all like Henderson, Trent, all of them. But we'll criticise the players. Not overly criticised, but as I said, you know me, you have subscribed to the channel, and over the last couple of years, I try and be as positive as I possibly can, but I wasn't going to sit there after the result against Fulham and give them all glowing reports really, because it'd be stupid. I'm going to call them out when it happens anyway, but big up Ravi as well, the absolute legends. No worries, Dave. As I said, mate, at the top of the show, apologies, it was a bit late. Dave would have popped on for 5 or 10 minutes, but I was a bit late starting the show. But I will get it on this week, mate. And chat, if there's one thing that you can do tonight, please do head over. If you haven't subscribed to Dave LFC Chats, I think he's 20 off something, Dave, aren't you? Off 5K. But as I said, Dave and me and Dave, I think we started at similar time periods in terms of our YouTube channels. But Dave's an absolutely top class fella as well. I've met Dave a couple of times, and obviously, Classman is a very good friend off camera as well. And hopefully we'll see you soon, mate. Get Dave to 5K, everyone. Come on. Get Davey, boy. You know who he is anyway, but get him to 5K. Share this channel. Share all of his content. and get Dave past 5k. I would also play Costas until Robbo levels improve. 100% there, Avi. Obviously, shout out there. And Brian's interested. What's that, la?
Is Costas back yet? Because no, he mid August. He said, but
yeah, no, I think he's potentially back as well. Chat, let us know. I'm not 100% on that, but for me, if Costas is back, it's the thing. No, for me, when he's played Skulls or Chat as well, let me know. When Costas has come in, he's really performed well, hasn't
he? Yeah, I think I think we were all shocked by how good he was when he came in. Even though it sounds like Barry hit the ground running as a left back, but he looked just as dangerous as Robbo. But we've had Robbo for 2 years beforehand and knew how good he was. So it was always going to be hard to basically get that position for himself. But when he's come in, I've never thought, you know what, we're missing Robbo here. Costas has filled his boot very well.
Yeah, 100%. Brian's got an interesting one, and obviously it is. We did speak, Brian, didn't we? And we said on the channel as well before the season starts, potential formation change, and especially interesting there. And ask you your thoughts, goals and chat. As Brian said, they switched to a potential 4-2-3-1 with Fabinho and Milner in the 2, and then Diaz, Elliott, and Salah behind Nunez, maybe even potentially. It's an option there, Scholes. But for me, Brian, right, we'll get obviously in terms of, so Brian potentially would have went.
I'd be more than happy to see that. But my only disagreement is I'd play Henderson over Milner.
Yeah, so Brian's just probably.
Henderson's best position is that 6. In that double pivot next to Fabinho, I think you'd see a different side of Henderson.
It'd be interesting. So do you have, let's have a look. So we had Elliott. Would you not say Elliott would be that floating 10 there though, Brian? Or chat? For me, if it was that, Brian, I'd love to see that. I think we've seen Carvalho play that role, haven't we, Scholes? Especially last season for Fulham and be so successful in it. And obviously you'd have Salah down the right, Nunez as well, and then obviously Diaz on the left. And potentially due to the severity of Liverpool's injuries at the minute, the less midfielders you have on the pitch, the more less likely you are to getting injured again, would you say?
I agree, to be fair. At first, the logic baffled me, and then I realised where you're going with it. Yeah, it's a good point made, and I think I wouldn't be against it. I think we've got the defenders to be really creative, to allow us to be really creative, not the defenders to be creative. We've got the defenders that can allow us to be creative, and I think if we played someone like Fabinho, and then obviously we've got Van Dijk, who could do that on his own most of the time, unless it's Mitrovic, then all we do is give these attacking players a bit more freedom. Say, do you know what? We're giving you a role here in the 10, just float and do what you want to do, play your own game. Because we saw with Bobby's never played the 10. But when we said to him, right, there's that space, occupy it, and you just play football, which you know how good he can be. So if we did the same with Carvalho or Elliott, the player get off them would be ridiculous.
And that's an interesting point as well, Chad. Great points, and obviously what Brian and Andrew's goals as well. What we spoke about after Fulham was those channels, absolute nightmare, and it will be the case. Even if Fabinho, and we say, not Milner, but even say we did play a Henderson, or you'd say probably those two, just to be a bit more defensively reassured, and especially be thrown on an extra attacker. But if you told Fabinho what to drop into those pockets of space and just protect that right-hand side of Liverpool's midfield, and then obviously you'd have the defence that would usually split. But if you had Milner or whoever played in that left central mid, ideally it's Thiago in that position, innit? But obviously because of his injury, he's not going to be here. But I'd be up for that. And especially give long term, if you think about it, and in terms of this season, with the players that we've got currently out injured, Fabinho would give a bit more defensive. I know he's a DM by trade anyway, but in terms of just getting an extra midfielder, telling them to be a bit more defensive. But that would allow Trent to go a bit more higher up the pitch, pick up those central areas. If you did have a number 10, i.e., as Scholes said, a Firmino or a Carvalho, or as Brian said, potentially Harvey Elliott there, and then a Diaz on the left, or whoever that may be. Long term, that would be Thiago, but I'd be up for that as well. But keep on getting your comments in, everyone. Who'd be your midfield three, or similar with what going on to off the back of what Brian said with potential formation change as well. Yeah, Nunez. Oh yeah, 100%, mate. Obviously, as the title and the thumbnail of the show, mate. It's obviously just a midfield tonight. But we know, yeah, Nunez will be starting, mate, won't he? Even though he's not ready to be in a starting place, I would trust Patetic before I trust Naby. Interesting. That's why I put him in, because, Scholes, were you impressed with how at ease? I know it's pre-season and we don't want to go too much into it, but he seems. I've not seen a lot of this lad, but judging from the hour or two games I've seen of him in pre-season, he looks a lad with a lot of quality and a lot of
he looked confident.
Yeah.
When he came in, there's a lot of weight on his shoulders in the sense of what he's doing, playing in terms of playing for Liverpool and getting the first few games on his belt. However, it is only pre-season. Making that step to the Premier League is a massive step, and I think if we were winning games comfortably, and I'd be all for it. However, when we need to get the first 3 points, I wouldn't risk it.
Yeah, because Christ, I wouldn't even want to go on social media as well. It's the thing. We live in an age now, like where you, and especially the Premier League, we need to win every single game. You just had their goals.
If we're winning 2-0 or whatever, I'd happily throw them.
Yeah, 100%. 100% that. Matip was a standout. The guy's GOAT. I'd love to see. Obviously, Andrew's gone with Fabinho, Elliott, and obviously, as I mentioned before, I'd like to see Carvalho preoccupy that left-hand side channel anyway. So interesting that, Andrew. No, if Nunez doesn't start, then there has to be some serious questions asked. Oh, Philip, 100%, mate. I think we'll all be knocking on Jurgen Klopp's door, be like, lad, what are you doing? Yeah, Elliott is obviously the 10. I thought it was, Brian. Nice one, mate. Can't be worse than what we saw on Saturday. Well, we'd hope not, Brian. You'd hope not, mate. With the type of Liverpool players Liverpool have, the 4-2-3-1 means getting outnumbered in midfield. That's the thing, Scholes in it in chat. When you do play a 4-2-3-1, it is that issue where if you are playing against a midfield three, there's that extra man.
It's that extra man, but if your number 10 is running enough, it pins one of them back. So it comes down to the 4-2-3-1. If you've got the ball all the time, it's a very good formation. You've got to be careful. You have got to be careful of the turnover. That's where you'll struggle on that turnover. However, if your number 10 is pulling people out of position and moving their midfielders, it then gives our fullback, who we all know can cross the ball, give them more space because that midfielder isn't being able to close them down because they've got to focus on that number 10 as a run, making that breakthrough run or coming short of the ball. They've got to follow, which will drag them out.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And chat, let us know your thoughts. Most importantly, get all your comments in. If you just joined in now, big up, Daz, as well. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you're a bit late, obviously, we're just discussing Liverpool's potential midfield three, who you'd like to see start. Scholesy, just quickly remind me, obviously, who did you want to go with, just for people that are jumping in now? Did you want to go for Fabinho? So, Henderson, and we'll go there, won't he? And then Milner. I was going to say, where's Milner? But that was Scholes's.
That's what I think I'll start. But I'd happily see Harvey Elliott in there for Henderson all day long. Or Carvalho, either one.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, this is, as Scholes said, this is what I think it will be, potentially, on Monday against Palace. That's what I think it will. And as Scholes said, he of him is starting three. But for me, I'd love it. Be ballsy by Klopp. But as we've discussed, defensively, as we were against Fulham, Fabinho would probably be getting overrun. They'd be getting dragged left, right, and centre. And depending who Palace do play, if you had Conor Gallagher, then I'd say because he's such a good player, especially athleticism of Conor Gallagher. But he's at Chelsea, and But it will be interesting tactically. Crystal Palace are a very good side anyway. But chat, let us know. Get us your midfield for the anyway. Before we do shoot off anyway. We definitely have to work back. Yeah, 100% there, Brian. 100%. But Daz has gone with Fabinho, Hendo. Fabinho, Hendo. And then Ivor. So you'd say that, wouldn't you, miss? So potentially one of them. Obviously, you'd probably swap them over. But interesting that, Brian. Daz, sorry, mate. Yeah, so you probably would that. Henderson's more naturally right-footed anyway, so he just tends to pick those pockets of space. So 4-3-3 is effective with Nunez 100%. Well, even whatever formation, mate, the running of Nunez, would you say, goals? He'd be very adept at playing a variety. I think he played 4-2-3-1 Benfica as well, and played quite a variety of positions as well, mate.
He's going to cause defenders nightmares. Like you saw that half an hour he was on. He pulled defenders everywhere. Didn't know how to cope with him. It reminds me of like we saw on Sunday with City with Haaland. When someone's making that run across the front post, the defender goes with him and leaves a gap, or they have to just let him go and he's offside. With Trent and Robbo, him getting across that front post, he's going to cause us problems. It's going to be unbelievable. It's what we've missed. We have another number 9 who's going to just have a ball and know where the ball's going to be. And I think it's going to be massive for us.
It's like that when he's very similar in certain ways, and I've spoke to you about this off camera, and chat have already said over the last couple of weeks. Similar with Torres, the sheer pace of Torres. Torres was frightening at one over the first 15 to 20 yards.
He clocked the fastest time over the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, Nunez. Yeah, and everyone was obviously Haaland run through West Ham, but as he said, mate, Nunez was not on the pitch for a long time, and he was just straight in there, and he instant impact, and he will be starting, chat. But as Chat has already said, there'll be some serious issues if he's not starting. Must be something happening behind closed doors. Naby should pull his finger out for once and step up. The most accurate comments of the night as well. Yeah, as Paul's been a subscriber for years, we've all said, and I've said to you, Scholes, and others when we've been speaking to you as well, if Naby stays fit, and yes, he stayed fit last season, but just watch, if we are to give him a new contract, and I'm hoping, all of us are hoping upon hope, that his injuries are behind him. But time will tell, and the performances.
To be fair to Naby, against Palace, when he plays against Palace, he usually puts a shift in.
Yeah, it's the thing. No, I think the one aspect in Naby's game, and I think we can all agree, is defensively needs to work on. And especially if you're playing Naby, obviously if he is back fully fit, and we spoke about this, haven't we? Because Naby is absolutely fantastic when he's in top form, and he provides something that not a lot of our midfielders do, and that's a shot from distance or a goal from distance.
Was it Palace he scored against last year where he hit it next to the box and just stood there like nothing ever happened?
Oh yeah, it looked like Eric Cantona, the Cantona
celebration. Was that Palace?
Yeah, I think it was Palace. Chat, let me know. Was it West Ham? Let us know what that Naby goal. You've got better memory.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, he's got that confidence, and I'd love it if Naby did sign a contract. If he was fit and available for his whole longevity of his contract, and he built up. We haven't seen the best out of Naby Scholes or Chat. But it's the big word is if with Naby, if he stays fit, if he performs, if he's consistent. Elliot fans and Hendo, don't get me started on that, Paul. Oh, bloody hell. I just upload my videos, share my streams as well. And as I said, we all love our lads, but I think Elliot provides a lot more creativity than Henderson. But interesting times ahead anyway. Let me see Simon Brothers tomorrow play him as well. No, as I've told the Scholes, even before, Scholes knows, everyone knows Brell is my main target. Been saying for the last 3 to 4 years anyway on the channel, we need to sign this lad. And Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. What would your starting 11 be for you if you was clocked as? I'll try. Can I get? There we go. Let's quickly. No, Thiago's injured. There we go. Virgil van Dijk. Massive strength. Ali. Diaz, Nunez. Salah. Right, there we go. So
that's the Sky Sports. There's nothing no love.
Yeah, there we go. Ideally, I'd have someone bloody doing it for me in the bloody gallery. But we'll eventually get there one day, everyone. I'm not clicking the buttons. There we go. There we go. So that would. I'm gone. Me butterfingers. Where's Carvalho? There we go. That'd be my starting 11. So we've got Ali in goal. Strength there. Matip there. Robo. Elliot. Carvalho. And for me, you're playing at home. A packed Anfield under the floodlights. Would that be something similar for you, Scholes, or would you change any of them?
If we'd have gone and beat Fulham comfortably, yeah.
Yeah.
But because we struggled, I'd probably still see Henderson or Milner in there.
Yeah. Try let me.
I'd pick one, or I'd obviously have to pick one of Carvalho or Elliot. I'd probably go with Elliot because we know what he's about, and he's played for Liverpool and Anfield before. It won't. There's no worry about the pressure basically going to his head.
Yeah,
and that's what I want to do first.
Yeah, that's the thing. No, it's very different, isn't it, mate? And chat when Liverpool are playing at Anfield, the crowd, as much as rival fans say, but the crowd can be the difference maker, especially if you're on a title run. Yeah, if you're on a title run, or like we're getting results and we're being unbeaten, hopefully. But yeah, nice one, Owens. Great comment there. I'll get to that in a little second. Get your comments in as well. But yeah, the crowd can be a benefit. But for me, I want us to see a bit more attacking going forward at Anfield and the crowd to get behind us and be positive and be progressive with the ball. Teams, we shouldn't be thinking, obviously, teams will come to Anfield and play well. Obviously, Spurs, for example, they frustrate the hell out of us and they usually play quite well. But the way we play, we can add an extra midfielder that goes forward, either i.e. Carvalho or, as Owen said there, with Naby in terms of down that left, or even Thiago when he was playing as well. So, interesting. Here's a few options. Well, we spoke about that, Andrew, anyway, and we did speak at quite arm's length about that last night, or might have been the night before. It's an option, and we probably will. I will do a show on that as well, and we'll get a couple of years on discussing that because we did speak. I think it was I had me and Luke, obviously Spider. We covered all bases, and that was after the results as well, anyway. But we covered all bases in terms of how Liverpool is a whole defensive unit, not just Trent, but in terms of our midfielders tracking back and who we play there and where. But I'd like to see that long term, Andrew, but I don't think it will happen. But we'll speak about that throughout the week anyway. Naby is good in spells, but not consistent enough. 100% there, Eamon. I think we'd all agree with that. Naby looks good once every few months. It's time to move on. I'd agree with you there, Brian. I would play, but Philip, I would play Hendo or Fabinho as the defensive midfielder with Elliot and Carvalho. It's very attacking wise, and it'd be ballsy by Klopp, but for me, I'd love that. I think that's the most expressive, would you say?
Do you know what, though?
Especially with the injuries we've had at the minute.
I'll be up for it. I watched the Crystal Palace game last week against Arsenal, and you could tell Arsenal had like a fair few attacks on the pitch because Palace couldn't handle it. They looked dangerous in the break, of course it, but I think I'd happily have that midfield going off what I watched on Friday. In the sense of Palace didn't know what to do with the runners everywhere. because they had like Odegaard. I think they played 4. Odegaard being the number 10, and then Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus. Jesus as the vocal point. Looked, to be fair, he looked unreal. And then Odegaard didn't know what to do with him. So if we were to do that and have an extra attacker midfielder in a sense, either Elliott or Carvalho, I think it'd be good against Palace. But then again, on the break, he looked as dangerous. They're always going to with someone like Zaha up front though. So it's finding the balance.
Yeah, 100% there, mate. And as I said, interesting. But I agree with what Owen said. Naby's our only capable all-round midfielder available right now, 100%, mate. People need to stop the disrespect. So, no, Owen, everyone's entitled to their opinions, aren't they, mate? You can agree to disagree. People don't massively disagree with what I say on my channel, but at the end of the day, everyone's views are entitled as well. And it's all about respect, everyone. Everyone can have different views. That's the beauty about football and Skulls and Chat. Football is people look at football in different viewpoints as well. And certain players love different players within football. Like for me, Messi, and a lot of people prefer Ronaldo. But for me, as a football, the way I enjoy, and especially when Ronaldo and Messi were at the peak of their powers, both of them are world class and two of the greatest, if not the two greatest players to ever play football. But for me, I'd love Messi more, just in terms of obviously creative wise, in terms of just the way he plays football, and similar with midfielders as well. Certain people prefer different types of midfielders to different midfielders, and nice one, Owen. Anyway, I would play from Philip Hendo or Fabinho's over that one. All right, Yusuf, how you doing, mate? Yeah, we did have a slight channel change. Get your comments in before we do shoot off as well, chat. And it might be a bit controversial, but honestly, Henderson looks a lot better at the holding midfield. Owen, you're not wrong. And go back as well, everyone. Klopp was on record, and I said this when we done our Fulham post-match. Klopp is on record as saying Henderson's best position is in the 6. So, as much as Henderson doesn't like to hear that, he thinks he can play in that 8 position, but Klopp sees him day in, day out. He has done for the last couple of years, and that is his best position. For
then again, Fabinho is
better
Henderson.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
and that's the thing.
By a million.
Henderson's still one of our top 3 or 4 midfielders. He's going to be our best midfield. Henderson goes on the day, but you're not going to play Fabinho in the 8, are you? You're going to play Henderson because Henderson's better than Fabinho is there, and vice versa. Even though they're both best positions are the 6.
And we spoke about this, mate, and we off camera, and a lot of us over the last couple of weeks. Hendo will eventually replace Milner in terms of the squad role. Once Milner leaves the end of next season, the end of the season, sorry, you anticipate Milner to be replaced by Henderson in terms of rotation, and you'd hope, we'd all hope, because obviously Ox is going. Naby, if he doesn't sign a new deal, whatever happens in the next 12 months, if he signs a new deal or not, then you're looking at losing Milner, potentially Naby. Ox is well and truly gone, so you're looking at 3 midfield players going there. And Liverpool will, obviously, we brought in that man, Carvalho, but as we've said, he's predominantly at Fulham. He was a 6, and in pre-season, Jurgen Klopp has utilised him down the left wing. But I think long-term, similar with Elliott, the way in which he started his career, he was a right winger by trade. And due to Elliott's ability on the ball, technically, Klopp, similar with Gini Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum was more of a wide player, a PSV, who's a more attacking-minded forward. But Jurgen Klopp was like, no, I'm going to move Gini Wijnaldum into a holding role, into that 6 or an 8, depending on obviously who you're playing. But interesting times ahead. Let's get to all your comments before we do shoot off. Looks good with the new logo and a new banner. Thank you very much, Yusuf. Really do appreciate it. Absolute legends. Naby has got until Christmas for me. Interesting. Like the team on the screen, but would put Hendo in the 6. Interesting there, Ricky. Yeah, interesting. No disrespect, Owen, but he hasn't been consistently available and in form 100% there, Brian. As I said, everyone's got different views. I think last season, as Owen said there, proved that wrong, Brian. 100% Owen. It was his first proper season, would you say, Scholesy? As we said.
It's due for being Uncle, yeah. Naby last year was boss. I'm not going to try and take it away from me. He played really well. He played. And it was the player we hoped we signed. But then how long's he been in the club now? 3.5, 4 years?
4 or 5 years, I think. Yeah. Owen, obviously, let's know.
For the money we paid, I'm sorry, 30 games in 4 or 5 years, it ain't good enough. He's an absolute baller. We know he's a baller. But considering the money he's cost us and is costing still, I'd happily cash in on him now.
So, no, mate, he's running out of contract.
Exactly.
And I think, as an asset, I think long term, I reckon Naby will be getting, as we said before, top of the show. Liverpool removed their top pin tweet. I think Naby will be getting announced as getting a new signing. Not a new signing, a new contract. Because as a business sense, it makes sense on Liverpool because he's got a lot of resellability in terms of a market value. And there will be, I tell you what, if he left Liverpool on a free this summer, then after this season, there'd be a whole plethora, really, of top teams. Even Bayern would come in for him. Barcelona, Real Madrid. I think not Real Madrid because they're sorted for like the next 5-10 years anyway with Camavinga and the boys. But a lot of top teams would come in for Naby. But as I said, I think last season proved all wrong. It's all about personal. Yeah, 100% there, Ricky, anyway. But there's a lot of respect from everyone, so appreciate it. Absolute legends. Since he's joined, he's been in and out, never nailed down a place as well. What as Owen said there, I think just round off the episodes. Hard to nail down a place unless you are Thiago and Fabinho in our midfield, 100%.
That's all it comes down to. He's got a very good point. That's all it comes down to. He's simply not good enough for our squad. You could have one of the best right wingers on the planet, but they're not Mo Salah, so they're not going to start.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the brute, like that's the fact of the matter. It's like someone you could use Alisson, for example. Someone like a De Gea or a Courtois, a class, but they're not starting over Alisson. What how good they are. It's just that's the good thing with Liverpool and City. It's hard to get in that squad because the first 11 is world class.
100%, mate. Well, chat, thank you most importantly to everyone that is tuned in. And it's been absolutely fantastic, as always. I really do appreciate the support. And if you are new around here, chat, or if you're watching on the repeat, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. And please do head over to Dave LFC Chats. His link is in the description. Let's get Dave past 5K. I know we'll get that within a week. But head over, subscribe to Dave if you're not aware. Dave LFC Chats. The link is in the description as well. Thank you to every single one for tuning in. And most importantly, Scholes, thank you very much for jumping on tonight. Have you enjoyed it?
It's been a pleasure. I'm not working, of course.
I was going to say, hopefully get it on a bit more anyway throughout the season. But Reds, have a lovely rest of your night. And Amens, as I said, you don't have to say cheese. I have to say thank you to every single one for tuning in, everyone. We will be live tomorrow at 9 p.m. So hopefully we'll see you rounds. And Reds, look after yourselves. Enjoy it. And I can't wait for the Champions League draw, mate. That's just only around the corner in Skulls.
It is next Friday.
I think so. Chat. If you know the draw, quickly get it in before we shoot off.
I've just seen now Monaco have been beat 4-3 by PSV on aggregate.
Monaco were out.
Monaco were out.
Ooh.
And team awareness officially gone to Leipzig with 25 million.
Yeah, that's an absolute shambles. Like,
United
the fact that
as well.
Who's that? Sorry, that.
Arnautovic is rejected. Bologna have rejected 7.6 mil for Arnautovic. So now United setting them their interest about them. You'll throw another 20 million.
Yeah. On that note, Reds, happy days. No one wants to go to United. See you later, everyone. And we'll be live throughout the week. And we'll be live tomorrow at 9 p.m. Hopefully see you then. And everyone, look after yourselves. Have a lovely night. And have a good day and work tomorrow, everyone. You never will. And see you tomorrow. Up the Reds. There we go. Skulls have had an absolute mare there. That's going to be getting clipped. We haven't ended. Right.